we may not lobby the executive, but as we were talking about, there was a discussion earlier about Congress being representative to the people. Well, the White House has to be responsive to Congress. And so it's working with, at the time, our friends on the Democratic side of the aisle to apply pressure the way that they know how to an administration, as it will be with this administration. Bob was talking about the people who will get appointed into some of these jobs. Look, at the top level, you talk about Marco Rubio and Stefanik and Michael Waltz. Those three people have something in common. They all serve in Congress. They all have relationships with key AIPAC leaders from their communities. So the lines of communication are good. Should there be something questionable or curious that we need access on the conversation to? You never know. One of the first candidates I ever met with as an AIPAC professional in my job was to meet with candidates for Congress was a guy named John Ratcliffe. He was challenging a longtime incumbent member of Congress in Dallas. This guy looks like he could win the race. When we go talk to him, he had a good understanding of the issues. And a couple of weeks ago, he took the oath as the CIA director, for crying out loud. I think this is the guy that we had a chance to speak to. So there are a lot, I don't want to call them lifelines, but there are lifelines.
I think if you're in Iran or you are the Houthis or any of these other proxy terrorist groups, and frankly probably the Russians or the Chinese, you're looking at the ways in which the international community so quickly moved on from October 7th, and all of the criticism against Israel and Israel before. And you're probably taking away that a great tactic in war is to put as many civilians on the front lines as possible so that they can just get killed. And so the Hamas tactic had strategic effects because Israel finds itself isolated on the international stage, and it was a tactic by Hamas to terrorize on the global stage. Number two, propaganda and disinformation. This is a mutually beneficial relationship. This is not just about what the United States gives Israel. This is a partner that has flipped the script on what can be accomplished with military force in a way the United States military never conceived of doing against Iran and Iran's proxies across the Middle East. We get as much intelligence from Israel as we give to Israel. They are doing things with our F-35 that we aren't doing with our, so this is, if Americans, because the question is, American criticism from the right and the left, one thing that you hear that I think is common on the far right and the far left is that they don't want a young American men and women, service members in war wars in the Middle East or anywhere. So the way to not have young Americans on the line anywhere is to actually invest in strong partners who can defend themselves. That's Israel. So I have watched the congressional machine learn the muscle memory of how to slow down executive action now because I was on the Hill during the first Trump administration. So what worries me is we talked a lot about the importance of bipartisan support. And in the first Trump administration, you all may remember that different members of Congress, for different reasons, can put holds on proposed military sales to any country. And in the first Trump administration, there were holds on about 10 different sales to Saudi Arabia and UAE, and they lasted for a long time. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of what Democrats versus Republicans thought or what the Trump administration argued at the time, but the point is the Trump administration got fed up with members of Congress, and they invoked something called a national security emergency, which is legal under the law for how arms transfers happen, and they overrode the objections of Congress, and they just advanced the sales. But it took them 2.5 years to get frustrated enough with Congress to do that. This time, they overrode a hold on some proposed sales to Israel in about a week and a half. January 20th happened, and before February, there had been an override of this. What I worry about, that I think everyone who's a supporter of this relationship needs to be wary of, the manner in which sometimes it's not going to be about Israel, it's going to be about congressional versus legislative tussling, but Israel's going to be caught in crosshairs. And I'm worried about that with these executive holds. I'm worried about it with things like the Sanders joint resolutions of disapproval. Even if he doesn't force a vote this time, we're not getting to 4 years without him forcing a vote, and it is not good for Israel and for this relationship to make members constantly have to vote on it, even if they pass. That's not the point. The point is to not have to debate every time.
And I actually think that the war of ideas is the crucial battlefront here. And I'll give you an iterative example, just so you can sort of a thought experiment. You guys do that. Imagine 5 years from now, a congressional staffer types into AI, Claude, GPT, at that point it'd be like GPT-14, whatever, right? Says, is supporting Israel bad for American national security? The answer that they get back is going to be informed by the information that's on the internet today. Which is why punching back in the information sphere becomes so important. I would argue exactly the wrong impulse. Because when you disengage, you leave an open playing field for precisely that sort of information that's going to inform national security decisions 5 years from now. And by the way, Congress is not immune to this. Because if the member of Congress, if his or her electorate is increasingly being fed that kind of information, it will skew how they pressure him or her to vote, or even to throw him or her out of office and pick somebody else. Right? So that informational, right? I mean, it starts in academia, but it doesn't end.